If living on a sailboat for the last 4 years has taught us anything, it's that there's a lot more to the phrase shipshape. Keeping our 1,300 square foot floating home spotless is a full-time job. And while we might not always turn up for work, when we make the time, the results can be phenomenal. But it comes at a cost. Spending hours scrubbing every square inch by hand, both above and below the water, is exhausting, and it can eat up days of our lives. So, like many sailors, if we find a way to make this job that little bit easier, we want to tell the world.
Every boat owner has this problem, I know for a fact, and we are not alone. And that is cleaning the hulls. It's a horrible job to do, and depending what paint or coating or copper coat you've put on your boat, it can be an absolute nightmare. We have gone through an absolute arsenal of weapons to try and deal with this. We have gone from like basic scrubber pads from the hardware stop, all the way through to metal wallpaper scraper things. This one didn't fare too well in the salt. And to be honest, the more we do it, the more we're reminded that the manufacturers hate these things, because if you use them wrongly or too often, you can actually damage the paint on your boat, damage the copper coat, or even damage the hull. That metal thing could score all the way through the gel coat. So we have been searching high and low, basically for a better solution. And I think we might have found it.
Yeah, so this is an absolute game changer. You might have seen the big power tools from Nemo or from Remora. This thing is so small it fits in the palm of my hand. And it comes with a whole ton of extra different heads and brushes and stuff as well. So there's no getting around it. We actually have to get on and do the job now. Who's doing it?
I mean, I was celebrating, but I've just realized that that means Brenny gets to use the scrubber and I'm stuck with these stupid things. I just have to point out that these poor dive boots. So I don't know if we told you this before, but they were purchased from a petrol or gas station in a desert in Qatar.
This is showing off the good side. When you actually put them on, there's a massive hole in the front.
There's a massive hole, there's no side on them anymore. It's ridiculous. I think we have to upgrade you.
Yeah, the zip has fallen off and broken. They're really not doing very much, but it's too uncomfortable to wear the fins without them. So.
Well, also your fins died, so you're using my fins.
Yeah, it's too uncomfortable to wear Ian's fins without them. Anyone would think we never go in the water.
One thing we should probably mention is that this thing doesn't even have an on-off switch. What they've done is quite neat. This little hockey puck thing comes off. It's actually a magnet. And one way it's off when it's showing the red, and when it's showing black, it just starts. It's very cool because it means that it can come off with ease. It never gets water inside, and it just lives like that. And if it falls off, it stays off, which is cool. And
you're not going to lose the part if it falls off because it's tied on with a string.
Yeah, and it's on this silicone band thing, so you don't lose it when you're using it. It's very cool. I've never been excited about a cleaning product, but I am quite excited about this. All right, you all set?
I think so.
Are you absolutely sure? It's time to just highlight something that happened just 2 days ago. And this is why I'm double checking that she's definitely ready to get in the water. What happened 2 days ago, Brenny?
Oh, I was being so good and I was doing some laundry. And laundry's really boring, so I was listening to a podcast and I balanced my phone very precariously on the back of the boat and it went for a swim and it died and it is no more.
We've managed, 4 years living on a boat and never dropped a phone in the sea once.
Never dropped a phone in the sea.
And instead, I just hear a squeal as you strip down to your underpants. And then I dive in after it and find your phone at the bottom of, thankfully we weren't too deep, but sitting on the sand here, still playing the podcast. It came
out, still playing the podcast. I had such faith that I was going to survive and be a triumphant victory.
Well, the other issue was we had to decide just how much rice we were willing to commit to the cause of trying to try this thing out, because
we're getting a little bit low on our rice supplies.
Yeah. So you've definitely not got your phone on you.
But I will give you the microphone back.
Because last week, Brenny also jumped in with a microphone on and destroyed it, so...
There's something so weird about anchoring so shallow. We've got 1.5 meters below our keels. And it is just sand. It's perfect. We don't have to think about bommies or anything, but still slightly alarming seeing our boat so close to the bottom.
I mean, we're pretty close to shore too when you think about it. We swung around last night and we were bummed to the sand and it was close. So while she's in the waterline, I think I should probably explain a little bit. The reason we're finding this thing to be so useful is because it's kind of lightweight. You don't have to work very hard. You just hold it up against the boat and it does the work, which is kind of the idea of a power tool, I know. But when you think about what we used to do with like suckers to hold us on while we scrubbed really hard to those green pads, this thing, I mean, if it's not too baked on, we've literally glided down the side of the waterline of the boat, just holding it there and gone down with the current, and it has made it spotless. It's kind of hard because it sounds like we're just like saying it's the best thing in the world, but when you've spent 4 years like one arm scraping away while holding your breath, this thing is amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it's working really well above the waterline, where there's like the thin layer, it just comes off in like 1 or 2 passes. Down at the bottom, this is like a little bit more stubborn because we haven't cleaned it for a while. So
Oops.
it would take longer with the brush, but maybe if we try the scrubber head, I think that would get this.
Oh yeah, like the foam ones.
Yeah, switch it out from the brush.
Yeah, so that big kind of brushy pad is really cool. There's actually a smaller version of it as well. However, what we've been using is either these kind of lighter orange scrubbies, or they also come with the heavier green ones, which kind of closer match what we've used to date. So yeah, I find these ones are working really well. They are a bit aggressive, so you have to be kind of careful on the gel coat. But if you think you're just going to be a bit heavy-handed, that's where the orange ones come in. So I should use these because I get a bit heavy-handed, but unfortunately I far prefer using this one. We should probably compare it. So I'm going to grab the evil old scrubby pad things, and I guess I'm getting my workout for the day, even if Brownie isn't.
It's been almost 3 years since we put copper coat on our hulls, and it's done pretty well to keep the growth off our boat. With the exception of 6 million barnacles that we picked up in Colombia, we generally only have to clean our hulls once every few months, and now it only tends to be soft growth that we're wiping off. Typically, that means we spend days repeatedly freediving from the surface to get those hard-to-reach areas. And combine that with the physical exertion of scrubbing with a sponge, it is usually exhausting. With this electric scrubber, we can now clean all 94 feet of Indioco's hulls without breaking a sweat, and without collapsing in a heap at the end of the day. So we've just about finished cleaning the waterline and everything that we could reach from the surface, and we're not kidding when we say that this completely changes the task at hand. It is maybe a little bit faster than just doing it manually, but it is definitely easier. So our boat is 47 feet long, we've got 2 hulls. Cleaning the hulls is a massive job. Even with 2 of us, we're going to take any help we can get, and this has absolutely made a difference. If you are interested in getting one of these for yourselves, the guys at Fairway have given us a discount code for you. They usually retail about $250, but you can get 10% off with code RED SEAS 225. So we'll put all of those details in the description for this video, and you can go check them out. But now we really do have to get on and finish the job. Just the keels to go.
Just the keels left, yeah, but I'm absolutely knackered. You hogged the scrubber.
Yeah, I got the easy job today.
You absolutely did. So yeah, we have to, we'd normally free dive the keels, but today I'm going to be lazy and use the hookah. I don't know if people know what these are. Basically, we've used the dive gear in the past to do this, which involves like setting up the cylinders and our BCDs and our regulators and everything. And once you get all of that on and then you get down to do the keels, you kind of feel like a turtle on your back underneath the boat, which isn't so comfortable.
It's quite excessive for only having to go a meter down to clean the boat, isn't it?
It's 1 meter down. And if you're freediving it, that's fine. But after a while of repeated freedives, you build up, well, it sounds boring, but you build up CO2 in your bloodstream, and that makes you really sleepy. So,
yeah, not ideal.
We've decided to take advantage of this guy, which is a hookah system, which essentially, if I remember how to get it out, essentially it's like having a dive compressor that can float on the surface. And it just has this regulator and a little really skimpy harness. And then you can be down there for like an hour pretty much the entire time, breathing away as if you're on the surface. So it's really easy. All that's left is a snorkel, which I think we probably don't need a dive flag around these parts.
Not so much when there's literally nobody here for hundreds of miles.
Oops.
But we'll do it properly.
We'll do it properly.
If I forget you're in the water, it's a good reminder.
Just sail away without me. One thing I will say about these hookah systems, and there's various ones out there, but this Nomad's been doing a really good job for us, People worry that they're just gonna like shut down the second they run out of battery. And that, in our experience, that's not been the case. You can actually tell. So it runs on one battery, this one runs for like an hour.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the hour, we tend to wear a watch while we're doing it so we know how long it's been going. But towards the end of the hour, if you've been working particularly hard and breathing a lot, then you do notice some of your breaths get a little bit harder. Not like crazy sucking on the end of a straw, but just a little bit more labored. And you think, yeah, that's probably me coming to time. You check your watch, sure enough, it's an hour. And then you're only like 1.5 meters down. So
yeah.
You can hold your breath. You can get to the surface without a breath at 1.5 meters. The hose we have on it is 10 meters long.
But also, if we're going down to 10 meters, we would just use our dive gear. And then what does the balloon do?
This is a highly technical solution.
It does work very well.
It actually does. So basically to reduce the strain on this part of the hose, which is where your air is coming from, so you really don't want this to break.
Yeah.
This balloon just basically acts like a suspension system. So if you do pull on the hose, you go deeper or anything, then it basically acts like a suspension to reduce the strain or the angle on the hose here. It's a very smart idea to make, it's just a dry bag, but it works.
Yeah.
Be free.
It's like a little sailboat.
It is.
Goodbye. Did you tie the other end on?
Oh. Yes. Yes, I did.
So Ian's just dived underneath, and basically the whole system just floats at the surface behind him. So you can always see roughly where he is. It does make a bit of a noise. Every time he breathes in, you can hear the compressor turning itself on and going digga 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 digga. It's a little bit strange to get used to breathing. I thought, from what I had heard from other people, I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it is, but it is different from scuba. Basically, every time you take a breath, it senses that you're trying to breathe in and it sort of sends air to you. So if you breathe really shallow, it's actually kind of harder. You have to be a little bit more intentional about taking a breath each time. But you just get used to that once you're underwater. And again, it saves energy. We like the easy life. So yeah, it works. Well done. Good job.
Started snot, bugs and everything.
Oh, look at you coming out all so beautiful.
This is just how it looks in the Bond movies, right?
Although at least there weren't too many like shrimpy bug things this time.
It was all right. I was surprised. Yeah, Indy's looking overall pretty clean, it has to be said.
And now we'll go zoomy fast.
Yeah, let's hit some new records. I mean, okay, I know I've harped on about it a bit, but honestly, this scrubber thing is the future. Everyone needs one of these on their boat. It's just ridiculously easy.
I'm surprised how much we're able to talk about a scrubber. Like, it's not something I thought I'd get excited about, but...
I don't do cleaning. So, like, this is really weird. It honestly is, like, we're reading up on it. So, Monterey Aquarium, like Monterey Bay, they've got like 20 of these things now, and they use it to clean all the enclosures and things.
Yeah.
They're being used in like a whole bunch of places, but nobody's trying them on boats, and they just work.
Yeah, the whole design, it works so well. It's such a compact system, and
exactly,
it all makes sense.
It's small, it's simple. We do need to recharge it now, but it's USB chargeable. This little cap comes off, and then we just plug it into USB, and it charges up, and then we can just go all again, and yeah, restart. They're just brilliant. Honestly, if you haven't thought about it and you've ever had to clean a boat, you know what we're talking about. These are ace.
Well, as beautiful as this place is, and as much as we want to stay here forever, it is time to move on. We are going to lift anchor and motor up to the top of the atoll. We are really hoping that we might find some people, because our food supplies are getting fairly critical. And so that is our mission, to try and not starve. I mean, have you ever lived anywhere more beautiful? It's ridiculous.
Do we really have to leave?
I really don't want to.
I mean, I am very hungry. Like, very hungry now.
Yeah, we have done quite well on our provisioning. We stocked up massively in Tahiti, but that was 3 or 4 months ago, and we haven't really been to a shop since. The main thing we have run out of is flour, so we now can't make our own bread. We're getting close on things like milk and things like that, but it is just a couple of things. If we could get to a shop, that would be quite delightful. It's strange. There are certain places that make a real impression on you, and this stretch of beach, this lagoon, this atoll, having the whole place to ourselves and having never met anybody who has ever been here before, knowing that probably, I don't know, 5 people have ever stepped on that beach, it's just completely mind-blowing. We are in such a remote part of the world that nobody ever comes to. Nobody comes here, nobody visits. Even the sailors who sail in these parts of the world haven't heard of this place. And I know that we're kind of saying that we don't want to leave, but we're just always so aware there are so many places that we haven't seen yet. So we're excited for where we're going next. But it is a little bit sad to be waving goodbye. I was hoping we could sail, but I don't think there's quite enough wind.
Nope. Sadly, today's a great day for passaging from one point of an atoll to another because there's 8 knots of wind. And I actually think quite a lot of that is from us moving at 4 knots.
Yes, we are moving the wind.
Because our speed through water wheel is jammed up, even though we cleaned the boat, and I guess I didn't clean it very well. So we're going at 4 knots. It's registering 8 knots of true wind. I think that means there's only 4 knots of wind. So it's a very relaxed day out on the water.
Yes, it's very lovely and calm and pretty.
Well, yeah, it's nice to kind of cruise on past, like, this is, which side of the atoll is this? This is like the northeast edge of the atoll. And so you can kind of see where we came from, and then there's just these clumps of trees as each of the little islands that build up the atoll form. And it's just weird knowing nobody's there. Like, nobody lives anywhere but like a couple of houses at the village up here at the north. So the rest is just unexplored.
So we're just coming into the anchorage just now. It is kind of rolly here and it looks pretty deep, but hopefully we will be able to find a space and drop the hook somewhere.
Brian has just got out to check our anchor, which I'm pretty certain it just bunts over one giant rock. Looking at the satellite image of this place and then having scouted it out the depth sider, it's deep and it's full of boulders. So I'm not holding up much hope that it's landed on a sandy patch, which is a shame. Hopefully, however, we haven't landed on anything sort of tall, or we're not going to swing into anything tall, because around here there's a whole pile of marker pins. I might be able to make the one that's over there that's white, there's another green one over here. This guy's actually tied himself off to one of them, so maybe that's what we're supposed to do. But either way, we put out 60 meters of chain, so that's what, 360? No, that can't be right. What is it? 340 feet of chain. And almost all the pearl floats, with the exception of this one here. And yeah, hopefully, when we come to lift, it won't be too hard.
What's the story?
This is probably the rockiest anchorage we've ever dropped in.
Amazing.
The pearl floats are just so annoying. I think it's because we're in such a deep anchorage that basically we put the first pearl float on at like 1.5 times the depth. So the chain goes along the bottom and then almost in a straight diagonal line from the pearl float up to the boat. Whereas normally you would see them kind of daisy chaining. And it's like the pearl floats are almost not doing anything because just the angle of everything. So there's one rock that we're kind of hooked on.
Only one.
So as long as we can do a chicane around that when we lift, then the anchor should come up fine.
Really? Has it actually dug into anything?
It's not great.
So no.
But I'm just hoping there's not going to be very much wind.
Okay. So we're relying on basically the scope and weight of the chain.
Pretty much, yeah.
Or are we saying that if we do drag, it'll be about 4 seconds before we lock onto a rock
There
anyway?
you go.
Ah, fine then. We're good.
Anyway, I'm cold.
It's freezing. Time for hot chocolate.
Yes, please.
Hot chocolate.
Oh, you know what we can have?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was saying to the camera that we had run out of flour, so we can't make bread. We didn't actually run out of flour, but I used the last of it to make chocolate cake because we had 2 eggs left. So let's have chocolate cake. Well, we can see a few houses on the shore here, so we're going to head in the dinghy and see if we can find some people and maybe even a shop where we can buy some food.
go in here?
Oh yeah. I mean, it might hold.
All right. Remember where we parked?
Well, that was quite shallow coming in, but we made it in without running aground. And yeah, now we're gonna go hunt down some food.
Yeah, do you think they have a shop? We actually don't know if there's a shop here. In fact, we don't know if there's anything here.
I don't know if there's anything. There's definitely buildings, and we've just seen 3 people in the distance.
There are
so
humans.
there is hope. Well, 3 steps in and we found a shop already.
Yeah,
this is going
great.
well.
This is a big win. Well, that was very successful.
It was. I think about what we bought, and we didn't actually get that much, but the people were so lovely. It was like, oh, it felt like a great experience.
So good, but also like it's the basics that we need. So we got rice.
We got flour and we got rice.
Flour and
so
rice.
it's like, we can live on bread and rice. It's
Absolutely.
fine.
That's several meals in a row now.
You also got some crisps because you were getting snacky, and then
I'm going to get very snacky on the next passage. I know that.
I've now lost the gift that they gave us.
Oh yeah,
They
the last
gave us
minute.
a gift.
The lady who was running the shop, I didn't get her name, but she just suddenly very quietly and politely grabbed from the shelf these and was just like, here, have these, it's fine. And then
They
tried to
are-
give us some condensed milk, which was very cool because I really wanted to say yes, but Benny made me say no.
We have so much condensed milk on the boat.
Not
These
enough.
are Oriental Delights, preserved fruits, and somewhere I think it said peaches. Seedless
these are-
red peaches.
Seedless
I
red
have
peaches.
never seen
Anyone?
anything that looks like that. They're kind of squidgy. Maybe they're a bit like dried apricots, but
Yeah, I
small.
think so. It's funny, so we've noticed this sort of packet and this kind of stuff, you get confectionery stuff, but it all seems to be kind of straight out of China. So
Yes.
I think there's quite a popular supply of Chinese snack foods. So when it comes to like munchies, this is clearly the way forward. You're supposed to get,
Oh, that is not the texture I was expecting.
is it a peach? You can't spit it out, that'd be rude. She's probably watching.
Oh, that's
It's a very
really
small
odd.
community. I don't think I'm going to try that.
It's like, I was expecting it to be sweet. It's not. It's kind of sour,
Of course.
and the inside is like really fleshy. So it's not as dried as I was expecting. It's kind of juicy and a bit fairy on the outside.
You meant to peel?
No, I think you are supposed to eat them whole, but oh, that taste was not what I was expecting.
Surprise!
Would you like one?
No. So I can't be sure, but I think if we go down here, we might get our first look at the pass today. Part of the reason we wanted to get up here early was we were running out of food. But the second reason was we really wanted to get a good look at the pass to see if the tide times are right, because basically our arrival here, the tide times were very wrong.
So looking at the pass, it is supposed to be coming in just now, I think, and it is very clearly still going out. So what we're learning from this is the tide charts are not reliable, but that's why we came up like a whole day early, because we knew that we wanted to sit and watch the conditions and time it based on what was actually happening rather than what should be happening. So we're hoping to leave tomorrow, and that gives us 24 hours to just watch and see when is the best time to go. At least it looks calmer than when we came in. Like the standing waves, you can see where they're forming. There's like a whole line that stretches out to sea, but they're not nearly as terrifying as we saw on our way in. So there's hope.
There is hope. We just wanted to slip one little announcement in before we wrapped up this week's episode.
If you missed our live stream a couple of weeks ago, you might have missed that we just reached 10,000 subscribers!
Finally, yeah. If you've been following along from the beginning or if you've joined us recently, you probably have worked out it's not been the fastest rise to stardom, but now we've made it.
That's it. We're absolutely famous. Anyway, we wanted to mark the occasion, and while we're in this place and we have it all to ourselves,
Ridiculously
we have
cool.
made ourselves
A commemorative plaque. This is a piece of dead, rocky, corally stuff that we found. It is definitely dead, and we've used some nice eco-friendly paints to just mark the occasion.
We thought that we could leave it on this little sandy island which disappears at high tide, and then if you ever come to this exact spot, you can visit our wonderful plaque and take a photo and send it to us. And it will be like a highlight for tourists.
It can become a Red Seas shrine. So we figured this sandbar that we're on now, which is already going underwater. So
yeah, we're a little bit late in the day. So yeah, it disappears at high tide, but hopefully the stone won't wash away and it'll be here for millennia
to come. There you go. Thank you all so much for subscribing.
Yeah.
Like that goes without saying, but we have to say it. It's been a wild ride and we absolutely love the fact that so many of you want to hang out with us. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to do it.
You're doing
I'm
it?
going to drop it.
She's
Big splash. Ready?
Hang on. I'm going to get my safe distance.